Hi y'all, welcome back to Feelin Froggy Knits. My name is Maya, and today we're gonna learn how to spin. As you can see, another new place. I'm really just a woman about town these days, but I have a very special guest with me today. She is going to be the one that is going to teach me how to spin. And I'd like to introduce her now, so hi! This is Oona. We worked together at a restaurant, that's how we met, and she is a longtime fiber artist, has been in the game way longer than I have. So do you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Oona. I grew up in New York City in the Lower East Side. My mother forced me and my sister to learn how to knit. I was 8 years old at the time. She forced us because she wanted to learn. So it was cheaper to pay for 2 kids than it was for an adult class. So then we taught her to knit. I was 8 years old. From that, I went from knitting to at 11 years old, I learned how to spin yarn. To that was one of the catalysts to fiber arts, wanting to do agriculture. So without her and that knitting as the gateway, I don't think I'd be where I was today.
Yeah, and Oona has you have a craft business, right?
Yeah, I do majority. Sorry, the rat is out. There's rats in there.
There are literal, and we want them here.
Yeah, they're pets.
They're pets.
But I do majority custom fiber arts in regards to embroideries. So portraits, pet portraits mainly, and then kind of just whatever someone would want customized. So my handle is wildlavendercrafts.
I will put it on the screen.
Yeah, on Instagram. So just DM me if you want anything, because my website is outdated, aka it doesn't work when you click it. But yeah, I do that, and then I also do custom watercolors, and then the fiber arts I kind of just do as a fun, but I do spin yarn, so if people are interested in custom hand spun.
She's got years under her belt, y'all. I mean, yeah, Oona is truly the only person I think that could convince me to start spinning now, because I've actually said this before that I'm not really ready, but she was just you want to learn? I was like, oh my gosh, my teacher, please.
Yarn is expensive.
Yes.
Yarn is expensive, and one thing that has happened to me from spinning yarn, now that I've taken a break, now I can get back into buying yarn, but once I started spinning yarn, my main thing was I'd walk into a yarn store and I'd just be like, wait, this isn't exactly what I want. I'll just spin it! And I just spin my own yarn, or it's a really good thing to catch on for people who might be in areas that are in I don't know, I'm a self-proclaimed snobby fiber artist. I'm a yarn snob.
Yes, girl. We love a yarn snob.
Yeah, so if you're a little bit of a yarn snob and you don't feel like the area is catering to exactly what you might need, learning how to spin, you can really explore different fibers that in other words would be unattainable. So I've spun Egyptian silk, Egyptian cotton that was literally you bought in an Egyptian newspaper.
Yeah, so
cool. Yeah, so Egyptian cotton, Egyptian silk, camel fiber, bison fiber, yak. Those are all fibers that if you got in a yarn store or even found a yarn store that had that would be literally $100 a skein. Funny enough, if you have a fluffy dog in your life, you can brush your dog, and all that fluff you can spin into yarn.
Listen, put those dogs to use. They've been living rent-free in your homes for however long they've been alive.
Don't chew that.
Damn rats.
Yeah, it's a great access for people who
I hadn't even thought about that as a way to try out new fibers, because you're right, when you go into a yarn store you see merino wool, you see alpaca. I mean, you don't see a lot of different breeds of wool, right? It's usually merino, or that's actually the only breed that I know, so that's what I'm gonna keep saying.
Yeah, with most fibers you get blue-faced Leicester. You get more breeds of sheep that you start learning.
Right.
And then I think the biggest one for me was I would go to the Yarn Festival in Rhinebeck, New York, and they would have exotic fibers. And I remember going to a yarn store in Alaska, of all places. They had yarn from yak which has some of apparently the warmest and softest fibers. Like they have like number one warmer than wool, keeps you more insulated than a wool sweater. And then they're in the camelid family.
Oh.
They're not llamas, they're like basically wild llamas.
Wait, are they in South America?
Yeah.
I know it. I think I might know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're the ones. They're like red with the whole thing. And
in the Obama nature documentary, they
for some reason I'm blanking out on their name. They're like an animal that's like notorious for like you can't really domesticate them. They like herd like it's like big in Peru where they like herd them, collect their fibers, and then kind of have to like let them go. And now they have that fiber and like a couple other ones, which are like some of allegedly the warmest and most insulating fibers you could ever own. And I shit you not, they are like $100 a skein. It's like a lot of money because it's not, and buffalo fiber, because basically to harvest buffalo wool, they have to be in a chute and you just have to pick off whatever wool is hanging off because they're so wild. You can't like...
Oh, you can't shear them.
You can't shear it or comb it in like a traditional way to make a bulk of it. So you just have to kind of like grab what you can. So
just yanking it.
Just woo. So it's like you can just experiment with things that you were like, I didn't know. Flax is shit to spin. Spinning flax. But
so we hate flax. Here.
Processing flax is a bitch. I'm gonna teach you. So once you start learning how to spin, once you can like grasp that, like once you take into account like what it is to spin something, all of a sudden it opens this whole new world of like what's accessible for me to make.
Dude, oh my, you're speaking my language right now.
So it's like, I remember I learned how to spin. You know, you ever crack open milkweed pods? And you see all the silk? You can spin that.
Our world.
I knew some girl who spun literal spider webs.
Oh my god.
Which spider webs, I'm pretty sure, is like low-key what Kevlar is made out of. Because it's like the toughest fiber in like the world.
Damn.
Like it's the strongest fiber in the world. But yeah, once you start spinning, you start literally everything you look at, you're like, I can make that. I can spin that.
You know, I feel like that's just an extension of how I felt when I learned how to knit, and I can see stitch patterns. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I can see exactly how you constructed that.
Yeah, that's a knit pattern.
So I feel like this is diving even deeper.
Yeah. It's like you can buy a sweater. You could buy a sweater from Vintage Sweater, right? That you're like, I don't actually like how this looks, like it's an ugly Christmas sweater or whatever. Right. You're like, whatever, I can rip that sweater out, I can literally card all of that yarn and spin all of that and make it what I want. And completely repurpose it. It's like we were talking about in the car. Knitting, fiber arts, all of that shit, you harness that, that's punk, man.
Yes. Punk rock, dude.
Yeah, that's some punk shit. You're making your own fucking crap. That's a fuck you to the industrial fucking fashion industry shit.
Absolutely.
Whatever. Buy your crap from Shein, rip it apart, make it into something new.
Maybe buy the Shein crap from the thrift store.
From the thrift store.
Okay. Yes. First, I want to say we went to the local yarn shop now in Lexington, which is called Rebel, and it has been around for a really long time. It's an awesome shop. Everybody in there, super nice and helpful. Great yarn selection.
Who'd we meet? We met some lady, her twin sister took care of Dolly Parton's?
Yeah. She PT.
Yeah, like, physical therapist. She helped Dolly Parton. Oh, shout out to Dolly Parton right now.
We love Dolly Parton and Feelin Froggy Knits. We love Dolly. How cool. The people that you meet. Go to your local yarn shop, spark up a conversation. It's always a fun time. So at Rebel, I bought this drop spindle.
Yeah. Oh, it's handmade too.
And it's handmade. Here is what it looks like. I don't know what parts are important to show yet. And then we also got this Malabrigo. It's called Noob. That's their roving, but it is in the colorway Mandragora, whatever the fuck that means. Oh my gosh, look how pretty it
Malabrigo, shout out to Malabrigo to having probably some of the nicest, affordable, beautiful colored yarn for
seriously,
like almost any project.
How many ounces? This is
sponsor her,
please. Anybody, please. I'm just kidding. No, but really, it's 100% merino wool, and it comes with 113 grams. Is that what
that's the literal weight?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So like where yarn is yards, roving is like we could put it on the scale.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In this beautiful colorway. So, and this is all that I need, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. So like for beginners, for people who are beginning, I always suggest beginning on a drop spindle because then you kind of, in a sense, you learn spinning in a slightly more controlled fashion, but still with the chaos that causes spinning, because you have to physically be able to spin stuff, plus ply the wool. You have to be able to multitask essentially,
which we will show all of you. So I'm really hoping that this video will help people out there because I tell this story all the time. When I learned it took me 2 hours to learn how to do the long tail cast on. I shit you not. I cried multiple times. I cried to my boyfriend. I think this video will be very helpful today because when you are by yourself, you just don't know where you are going wrong. So I, myself as a beginner here with a very experienced spinner I will be able to tell you where I am going wrong, and Oona will be able to bring me right back to earth, hopefully, inshallah, Jesus Christ.
You can get drop spindles extremely inexpensively. Basically any website, a lot of yarn stores usually have, like that one's really beautiful because it's handmade. A lot of drop spindles will be kind of like the generic, I'm pretty sure it's the Woolery drop spindle. Very simple, very user-friendly.
Right.
And you can literally, like, that's probably, I think, one of the oldest forms of spinning. Like, that predates the spinning wheel because if you look historically, all anyone needed to do to spin yarn was, we saw other spinning drop spindles that's literally just a piece of wood where the bottom part is slightly weighted. I've never used one like that where the bottom is weighted and then you spin off the top. Drop spindles have been made out of literally a stone. So the stone is the weight part and the stick is where you're collecting your fibers. So this predates spinning wheels, it predates walking wheels, all of that. This is the OG way to spin. It's transportable, it's affordable.
Dude, the fact that I'm holding this in my one hand and you make yarn and then you make clothes?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, y'all, I believe we are ready to get started. I actually have been cheating so that I don't look so stupid later on when I do it on camera, and I've been practicing.
But don't worry, I will show you how to take this into what Maya's doing.
Yarn, some very uneven yarn.
So I like to tell Maya, it's just like, it doesn't matter. The first time you go around for the first while, you're going to probably have bulky yarn or uneven yarn. And then once you start kind of getting in the hang of plying, I am now stuck into the system where now all I spin is like sock weight yarn. And I can't go back to the bulky uneven yarn. It's very hard for me, and that's the yarn that low-key is designer yarn and you can actually make a lot of money off. Like, this is just like generic.
So right, it's sock yarn, little Cascade 220 action right
now. Yeah, it's just like generic shit.
This right here, you guys.
That's Buco Bucks and like fancy colors. That's Buco Bucks yarn right there. That's that you sell like 100 yards.
Yep, no, exactly.
It's designed. Drop spindle, there's two ways to start it. You can start it directly from roving, which is a little bit more on the advanced end, or you can use what's called, or at least what I call, a leader yarn. So you just take a piece of scrap yarn that you use, and you either tie it onto the shaft end. Again, these are not like legitimate vocabulary words of the parts.
Yes, please do not come to us for a vocabulary lesson.
So you can take the leader yarn and you can loop it around the shaft end, basically, and some of them usually have some, I don't know if you...
Yeah, so you see she just did like a knot. A loop. We know all about loops.
Yeah. And then you take it and you hook it on. It looks like that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, and then that's your leader. It's a stable piece of yarn, and it's a great way to like start your piece of roving. So you have your piece of roving from your pile, and then what I like to do, or I like to suggest for beginners, is to actually kind of pre-ply it, so you don't have to multitask. You want to make sure that all your hairs are leading in the same direction. That's the easiest way to ply yarn. And you just give it a light pull, right? Just, you keep one hand stable. It's hard to describe. Firm, but not quite firm. You know, like you're cradling. Oh, you're cradling a ball sack. You're cradling delicate items, you know?
The family jewels, if you will.
Yeah, anything, a tit, balls, whatever the case. You don't want to grab anything. You don't want to not be too light on it.
Let's be gentle. Let's be consensual. Let's all have a good time.
Yeah, that perfect hold. So you want to hold it like that, and then your other hand, you want to just give it a light tug.
Or a little, what would you say? A little rub and tug? Is that what you're?
Yeah, a little grab and tug.
A little grab and tug.
And then give it a little tug so that you have like a piece like that. So that's kind of pre-plied. So then you just kind of don't have to think. You can practice on your spin, and it's all on the wrist, the flick of the wrist. So then you take your roving. I like to hold it in my dominant hand, lay it over top of your leader yarn, because that you just have the slightly better grip, and you just kind of hold it together. And then basically you take your non-dominant hand and you, with your fingers, whatever the case may be, you give it a twist, right? And so as you're twisting, you can see that it's going, and you hold it and give it a flick. And you can just let it keep going. And can't really see it now because now it's out of camera, but you give it a flick and you keep letting it spin. But yeah, you just give her a flick and you let it just spin, and you just keep flicking. And as you're flicking and it's spinning, that's giving it more twist into the yarn. Over twisting, you'll start to notice that it curls up on each other. By going the other direction, you can untwist it a little bit, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. You want to focus on your twisting right now, and less about things being too fat or over twisted. So that's pre-plied yarn. I didn't do anything with it, so it is quite fat and chunky and uneven. As you can see, there's some over twist.
This is the yarn that I was working on earlier, and it is just...
Maya did a very good job in keeping her yarn even.
Well, now it's untwisting, but...
But here, I'll show you eventually what it will look like when you start becoming really confident in the way you're spinning and stuff. So, once you're spinning, I don't pre-ply my yarn. I hold it together. I give it a spin, and I ply as I go.
Wow. Wow, yeah. Holy shit. Oh my gosh.
So then...
I'm watching yarn appear before my eyes, y'all. This is insane. It wants to, like, y'all, it just wants to be yarn. It's so... Look at the...
So then you can... That's a consistent...
Wow, yeah.
Spin. It's not overspun. So yeah, that's eventually what you can do. And I would call myself, especially with a drop spindle, I would call myself a mediocre spinner. Because when you go to the frickin' yarn festival and you see those those old OG ladies spinning, they're like standing in one place, and that spindle has been going for like a solid 3 or 4 minutes spinning. like I don't know what they do in their twist, but they just twist it, and it's just like, it's like on a little machine, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. So they don't have to keep taking breaks to like spin it. So
that is so cool.
Yeah, so basically like I'm giving you the basics on how to do it, but essentially from the basics, you learn, it drops, it hits the floor, your fiber breaks, and you just keep doing it, and eventually you start catching on to what are tips and tricks that work for you, what's the best way. You start figuring out how to manipulate the yarn, and then it becomes easier for you to do it. And then essentially once you learn how to ply yarn, once you learn how to do that hand motion, transferring from a drop spindle to, say, a spinning wheel, which in this case is an Ashford double treadle, which I can show you how it works.
Yes, we would love. Oh,
Makes it super.
so it looks like this is what she's spinning right now.
Yeah. Random side note, little joint pieces of anything you should keep oiled. And I distinctly remember the owner of the yarn store that I used to go to was like, actually the perfect amount of grease to use is by running your fingers through your hair and like running your fingers through your scalp, and you get like little like scalp greasy fingers, and you can rub it on the joints, and that's like the perfect like grease in a pinch. I just go to the kitchen and take a paper towel and dollop some olive oil on it.
Oh no, we thank you.
So again, it's the same thing where you want to make sure your yarn is all spinning in the same direction. So this piece that I'm adjusting right now, that's over here, this is the tension to the bobbin, and that's what's sucking up my yarn. So I don't want it to be too fast, and I don't want it to be too slow. But yeah.
Wow. Oh, no free feet. Sorry. That is so beautiful.
But essentially, if you can tell, like this hand is really honestly stabilizing. And then, because the way the fibers, they're all going in the same direction, I can literally, sometimes you can almost spin with one hand.
Oh wow, just like hold it and go. Damn.
Yeah, like you can use this, you can pull it from there, or you can use this hand and pull it from there.
That's so cool.
So, yeah.
Wow. So I can see you like able to correct yourself like just in the moment.
Yeah, because you just hold on to it, because the worst thing that happens is a slight over twist, but you can kind of, like, and this is not very even because I'm kind of spinning at this point, because like when I'm at the height of like practice,
Right.
I can keep it like very consistent. But I would say my left hand right now is basically my stabilizer. So this is that's pulling it and feeding it into it, and my left hand is essentially stabilizing.
She's doing it. I'm speechless. She's making yarn. You know, when you have a good teacher.
Here, flake it from the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Not from the top. There you go. That's some beautiful stuff, man.
Little design. Oh. Little designer yarn.
And that's very consistent. That is very nice, Maya.
Thank you. Oh, I'm the best teacher. I'm so excited. Okay, you twisty as fuck, ain't you?
You just wrap it around your hand.
Oh, yeah. No, I would like to make it complicated, actually.
There, do you feel the roots of all the
women of
the world?
The people of time gone by? Absolutely. I don't know. My back kind of hurts. Maybe I don't.
Because you put your shit, hold it down,
Oh, yeah.
man.
I'm like...
Other direction, other direction.
I will wrap up this video here. It is a couple of weeks later, and by a couple weeks I mean like a month but I have just been away from home. I got back from Kentucky and then 2 days later left on a 2-week road trip. So my upload schedule has been a little off. I apologize for that, but I have a lot of new stuff coming, a lot of new fun ideas, a lot of new fun inspiration. Oh, but I did want to mention that this is going to be part 1 of me learning how to spin. So in this video, Oona taught me how to spin using the drop spindle. And then I was thinking maybe in a later video, I can just show the process of processing a whole, a whole thing of raw wool with a drop spindle. And then, I have to get a knitting knotty or make one. And then I've got to, there's a lot of stuff that I have to figure out, which I will probably call on Oona to help me with. That being said, this was a long video, so I want to do multiple parts. But here is where I have left off. It's working up so beautifully. Like Oona said, like we said in the video, you get big buco bucks for for uneven yarn, which is what I have in my possession. Well, if y'all liked this video, make sure to like it. And if you would like to see more of me, make sure to subscribe. I am on a strict upload schedule now. Might try to do, 2 in 1 week. Oh, don't hold your horses. Don't hold your horses, but I'm really excited. I feel very motivated. I want to get back into making some cool videos for you guys and for me. Well, I love you all. Thank you so much to Oona again for teaching me. I am so grateful. Never thought I would get here so quickly, but with your inspiration and with your help, I am feeling really fucking cool, and I'm feeling really happy about where I'm going with my art and with fiber in general. And yeah, so thank you so much, Oona. Make sure to follow her on everything. She has her own craft business. Oh, she made me this. She makes these, but like way cool, like detailed versions. She does like pet portraits for people, but this used to be my Instagram handle, so that's why she made this for me. Very sweet. Make sure to keep a lookout for a future little podcast with the two of us. Oh my gosh, so fun. All right, y'all, I love you. Have a wonderful night or day wherever you are, and I will see you on the next one.